Today's scripture reading comes from 1 Thessalonians 2, verses 1 to 12. You can follow along on the screen or in your pew Bibles. You know, brothers and sisters, that our visit to you was not without results. We had previously suffered and been treated outrageously in Philippi, as you know, but with the help of our God, we dared to tell you his gospel in the face of strong opposition. For the appeal we make does not spring from error or impure motives, nor are we trying to trick you. On the contrary, we speak as those approved by God to be entrusted with the gospel. We are not trying to please people, but God, who tests our hearts. You know we never use flattery, nor did we put on a mask to cover up greed. God is our witness. We were not looking for praise from people, not from you or anyone else, even though as apostles of Christ, we could have asserted our authority. Instead, we were like young children among you. Just as a nursing mother cares for her children, so we cared for you. Because we loved you so much, we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well. Surely you remember, brothers and sisters, our toil and hardship. We work night and day in order not to be a burden to anyone, while we preach the gospel of God to you. You are witnesses, and so is God, of how holy, righteous, and blameless we were among you who believed. For you know that we dealt with each of you as a father deals with his own children, encouraging, comforting, and urging you to live lives worthy of God, who calls you into his kingdom and glory.
Well, good morning, everyone. Today is the second in our series of sermons taken from 1 Thessalonians. And today we're looking at chapter 2, as Ryan just read for us. And because it's an intergenerational service, we're sort of breaking up the message into smaller, bite-sized pieces so that it's more accessible to our children and youth, and a little bit more fun, too, for us as adults, we hope. So, today, the message is really all about family, and it's about parents and children, and about how we experience God's family. So I wanted to start with a video clip, and I'm actually not able to control things, so I'm going to hand it back to the desk there. I wanted to start with a video clip from the movie Parenthood. Now, that's an old movie. It came out in '89. It's a long time ago. But it's a really wonderful movie, and it has a lot of great insights about relationships and about the ups and downs of living in a family, sort of what we heard a minute ago with family member or guest. Sometimes families can be great, sometimes they can be messy. And so in this particular scene, I'll just set it up for you, Steve Martin plays the father, and he's just come home from the Little League game where he's coaching the team because his 9-year-old son is so stressed about baseball that he wants to encourage him, and so he became the coach of the team, and he says, "Go out there, son, you can do it." But the son is absolutely mortified that he's going to make a mistake, that he's going to drop the ball, and that all of his friends will be mad at him. So this is making the dad, in turn, totally stressed out, because he's worried every time his son takes the field that something bad is going to happen. So he's just come home from this super stressful Little League game, and his wife greets him, and she says, "We have 3 children. I want to have another baby." And this is the scene.
Isn't that demented? That a grown man's happiness depends on whether a 9-year-old catches a pop-up? I mean, what if he missed?
But he didn't.
But he could have.
But he didn't.
But he could have.
But he didn't, Gil. You threw him 12 million pop-ups in the backyard. You cut the odds considerably. If you hadn't, ow, ow.
But there's 3 of them. And you want to have 4. And the 4th one could be Larry. And they're going to do a lot of things. I mean, baseball's the least of it. And in all those things, sometimes they're going to miss.
Sometimes they won't.
Sometimes they will.
Sometimes they
Sometimes they will.
What do you want me to give you? Guarantees? These are kids, not appliances. Life is messy.
I hate messy. It's so messy.
You know, when I was 19, Grandpa took me on a roller coaster.
Oh?
Up, down, up, down. Oh, what a ride.
What a great story.
I always wanted to go again. You know, it was just interesting to me that a ride could make me so frightened, so scared, so sick, so excited and so thrilled all together. Some didn't like it. They went on the merry-go-round. That just goes around. Nothing. I like the roller coaster. You get more out of it.
I love that scene. Because Grandma answers the question, should we have another child, without mentioning children at all. She just shares about the difference between the merry-go-round and the roller coaster. And obviously the roller coaster represents the chaos of a house filled with children. But her final words, I love the roller coaster. You get more out of it. As we continue our study in Paul's first letter to the Thessalonian church, we see verses that tell us about mothers and about fathers. And even though he himself is not sort of describing motherhood or describing fatherhood directly, we can see by what he says some important principles that I think are important that we'll touch on today. So the first one he says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 7 and 8. Just as a nursing mother cares for her children, so we cared for you. Because we loved you so much, we were delighted to share with you not only in the gospel of God, but also our lives as well. I find this so interesting. The Apostle Paul would describe his care and concern for the believers in Thessalonica using the analogy of a nursing mother. He wants to remind us and remind them of the way that he demonstrated his care and support for them when he was first with them in Thessalonica. When he wanted to communicate this deep love, he said to them, he turned to this example of a nursing mother. So, one Greek scholar commenting on this passage said, what is important to note is that Paul uses feminine language to describe his activity because women, and in particular the maternal dimension of womanhood, was viewed as in an extremely positive light in antiquity. The image is obvious as he tries to communicate the idea of gentleness, of compassion and care. And the scholar goes on to add these words. He says, what Paul describes here heightens the sense of Paul's love and concern and feelings of tenderness towards the Thessalonians. So that's the first image, the image of the mother. He continues, though, and very interestingly, in a couple of verses later, in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 11 and 12, Paul writes this. For you know that we dealt with each of you as a father deals with his own children, encouraging, comforting, and urging you to live lives worthy of God, who calls you into his kingdom and glory. I think you can probably see where I'm going with this. Paul now uses a similar but opposite analogy. This time he invokes the image of a caring father A moment ago, he was saying, I was like a nursing mother caring for you. Now he's saying, I'm like a caring father showing love and concern for you. In last week's message, we looked at how the Apostle Paul was writing to the Thessalonians who were in the midst of suffering and persecution, and he encouraged them. He comforted them. He gave them a sense of hope in the future. And now he describes himself as a compassionate and caring father. And it's important for us to catch the thrust of what he's saying here. It's certainly true that the father is an encourager, is one who provides comfort for his children in difficult times, but the role goes beyond that. The father is responsible, in Paul's view, to raise up the children with the right values and morals, that they would live according to the highest standards available. Again, quoting the theologian Wanamaker, he says, once his converts had accepted the new beliefs that he and his colleagues articulated, it was necessary for their father in the faith to begin re-socializing them into a distinctively Christian way of life. So in Paul's view, the father is the one who bears responsibility for the social and moral training of the children. Now, as we think about these two roles that Paul articulates here, as he describes himself analogously as a mother and also as a father, we need to remember that he wrote this almost 2,000 years ago. The analogies about the feminine and masculine characteristics that he's writing about and the cultural values that he's expressing were part of the culture that he grew up in, that he was raised in. And many of you will have no trouble at all relating to these traditional values, but there may be some here today who are uncomfortable because our contemporary Canadian cultural values have changed, and they are continuing to change around us. But this should not divert us from grasping the point that Paul is expressing here. He uses these analogies to communicate one thing about his care, his love, his compassion, his encouragement, and his concern for the believers in the city of Thessalonica. Whatever we think about gender roles, it's important that we understand that his readers, that Paul's readers, immediately recognized his tenderness and his genuine concern for their well-being. The truth is, it's hard to think about God's love without comparing it to some kind of experience of love that we've had in this life. A human experience of love that helps us to understand and appreciate God's love for us, even though we know that God's love surpasses any human experience of love that we may have. So even Paul's care for the Thessalonians is a dim reflection of God's love and care for them. Just look at 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 4 that we looked at last week. For we know, brothers and sisters, loved by God, that he has chosen you. God has reached down and accepted these Christians in the city of Thessalonica. And just as a father embraces his children, he's chosen them. He has adopted them as his sons and daughters. They are loved, and so are we. Father loving a child, a mother loving a child, these are the images that help us to understand God's love for us. And this, of course, is the image that Jesus himself shared with us. And throughout the scriptures, we have this over and over again that God is like a loving father, a loving parent. And it helps us to understand the emotion, the care, the concern, the encouragement, the support that is ours when we reach out and accept the love that God has for us. Life is messy. Sometimes it's a roller coaster, exhilarating and terrifying all at the same time. But we can face life knowing that we have a Father in heaven who loves us truly, tenderly, completely, faithfully. May we all grow to know his love more and more each day.
guys. We're on the search for the yellow warbler's nest. Keep your eyes open.
I'm sure there's one around here somewhere.
Where is it? Sneaky little
What's
birds.
what's a warbler?
A warbler. It's like a little bird.
Oh, okay.
And there should be a nest. So you should see some bigger birds, and you should see some tiny ones. You'll barely be able to see them if we do this right.
All right. Keep looking. Do you see any?
I don't know. I feel like I still have to meditate.
Okay.
Possibly for part 2.
Part 2. Here we go.
There they are. Shh. Don't scare them away.
There's the nest. Okay.
All right. Look. You can see the baby. Oh, look.
Oh.
It's a mama bird. It is a mama warbler.
She's feeding those little ones.
And look at that huge one right in the middle.
Wow.
Do you guys have big siblings that like to eat?
Yeah, it's like my big brother. He's always eating everything. There's
have
nothing
a big
left for
brother
me.
that eats everything. Look.
Oh,
They're still hungry.
wow.
What's she doing? What?
What?
She's sitting on them.
Oh,
Oh, wait, no.
they're going to suffocate.
She's protecting them. Oh, look at that. Predators can't get to them now.
Right.
That's a cool creature power, boys and girls. I know you know about creature powers. Look at this. She's taking care of them. She's keeping them warm.
That's
Oh, look at that. Oh,
sweet.
she's cuddling.
That's beautiful.
Cuddle
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
Oh, where's she going?
What?
Who's that?
Oh, look, the daddy's come back.
The dad is back, and he's doing some feeding.
Right. What are they eating? Is it like
What do you
that's
think
gross.
they're eating, boys and girls? What do you think birds eat? Go ahead.
Worms.
Worms.
Worms. Oh. Yeah, my mom tried to feed me worms once too. Didn't like it. No. Ugh. Gross.
Dad's working. Oh,
Okay. Oh,
and Dad's gone
there's some
now.
activity.
They're alone.
What's going on?
Waiting.
Oh,
Well, you're hungry again.
they're hungry. Is that all they do? Is eat?
Is that all babies do is eat? Help me out here. Yeah? Babies are hungry? You guys know?
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Here we go.
Look. The dad's back. And they sleep too, you're right.
Right. Yeah, that one just like a big green bug that one ate.
Oh, look, it's...
My mom tried to make me eat broccoli once. That was really
Oh,
gross.
do you guys ever have to choke down broccoli?
Yeah.
Maybe some spinach, some green stuff? Yeah, you want to get it down
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, she chewed it up first and then spit it out so I could eat it. Yeah, that was bad.
I'm not going to his place for dinner.
But I guess it's good for birds, though. Yeah.
And check it out,
Right.
check it out. These birds have a cool creature power. They're perched. So they don't actually have to go in the nest to feed them. They can kind of stay outside the house. That's so cool.
Well, who built that nest in the first place?
Who do you guys think built the nest? Just the mom and the dad. That's right.
Yeah. Wow. That is so cool. That's amazing. Big birds know how to build nests. Yeah, and that's a good one too because you can see it protects the babies.
That's right.
That's right. That's
Good
right.
job, Michelle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now the dad seems to be moving out of the way.
Looks like they're hungry again.
Oh, yeah, they don't look happy. He's leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, well, boy, this is really cool. I wonder if this helps us to understand about our own families. Some of the good things that are the important things in our own families.
Yeah.
Mums and dads. Oh, what's this?
Oh.
Ugh,
Oh.
something gross.
Oh, they're getting bigger now.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You know, the mom and dad are just nonstop here.
Yeah, they really haven't sat down to play on their phones or watch TV or anything.
I know. That's amazing. They're so busy.
Oh my gosh.
All right, well, crikey. Look at that big one again. There's that big one again.
Oh.
Ugh.
Oh. Man, they're all competing. Oh. Off you go. Oh.
Oh, there's another.
And check it out. They're like perched sideways. Check it. That's awesome.
Yeah. That is so cool. Okay, well, we've really learned a lot. I wonder if that tells us anything about our moms and dads when we look at these birds, about how the parents care for them.
What do you think, boys and girls?
What do you think?
Did you guys learn something from the video? What does this say about the people who take care of you? The mom and dad? That's right. What do they do for us? What was the mom and dad bird doing for the baby birds? What are some things? Do they?
Oh, look, they're
together. Finally, family
Yeah.
reunion.
All right.
All right.
That's incredible.
So they keep us safe, and they feed us, and they give us a safe place to live. What's the dad doing?
Oh.
Do you guys
Dad-
know what the dad just picked up? That was bird poop.
Oh.
But I think that's his way of doing the chores. Am
He
I
was
right?
cleaning up.
That is a creature power to
Yeah.
clean up. Not the mom, but the dad cleans up.
Wow.
He did. He has
He
to
did.
keep it. They
He
don't
put
have
it in his
hands.
mouth.
They got to work with that.
Well, he
So
doesn't
the next
have any
time you're
hands.
asked to tidy
He's
up
only
your
got
room,
wings,
boys and
so-
girls, you remember you've got it pretty good, right? Pick up your toys with your hands, and
Yeah.
a little bit easier than the yellow
Well, the
warbler.
bird doesn't have hands, so he
Right.
can't pick it up with his hands.
Yeah, they
So-
got to use their mouth.
Yeah.
Don't pick up your toys with your mouth. I'm just saying that.
But babies doesn't know that. Babies just put small things in their mouth.
That's absolutely right.
Then they choke.
Yeah. It's so amazing that God has given us these animals that we can look at, and we can see how mums and dads care for their babies, and how our parents and our grandparents and our aunts and uncles and our siblings can all care for us too. Good lessons there. I just wanted to share one brief little comment this morning, because today we're looking at parenthood, we're talking about moms and dads, we're talking about families, and I just wanted to recognize that not everyone has had a positive experience of family. And we've painted a sort of a bright, cheery, happy picture today. But I know that there are many here today who carry some wounds, some sorrow, some heartaches from their family. Whether it's an emotional scar from your own childhood that you still carry with you, or perhaps deep challenges that you have with your own grown children, a prodigal child, a broken home, challenges with mental illness or addictions. And there are some who have experienced a deep disappointment because they've never been able to have children. And they're brokenhearted about that. Life is messy, and sometimes it can be painful. So, for those of you for whom thoughts of family bring pain and disappointment and heartache, no matter what you've experienced in life, ultimately, God is our Father. As we sang in the song earlier, you're a good, good Father. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. These words are true. Regardless of the happiness or the sorrows that you experience, God is the one Father who never fails, who never forsakes us, who never abandons us. He is good and faithful and true, and in His love we are secure.